Speaker. For months, President Obama promised he would initiate long overdue negotiations on issues from health care to tax and regulatory reform, all factors holding back economic growth. But he linked this pledge to Congress reopening the government and raising the debt limit. His promise to address the critical drivers of our economy is why last week I voted to end the budget impasse and tentatively agree to cooperate with the President. With the government reopened, it's time for those promises that he made to be upheld, for negotiations to begin. Our economy is still way too weak. Let's look at the facts. 97% of all the jobs created in America this past year have been part-time. Millions of our workers are seeing their hours cut. Participation at the workforce is at an all-time low for the last 35 years, with 90 million adults sitting on the sidelines. Our neighbors and our friends are struggling and are uncomfortable about our future. Our latest college graduates can't find jobs, and millions more of our country's youth have quit searching for employment. It's time to reduce the uncertainty and help these families. The House has already passed dozens of bills to help grow the economy, including tax reform, limiting excessive regulations, debt reduction, and yes, reforming Obamacare. The President has repeatedly said he's willing to negotiate on all of these economic issues. As recently as October the 3rd, he stated, quote, "I'm happy to negotiate with you on anything. I don't think any one party has a monopoly on wisdom." Then on October the 8th, the President said serious negotiations could proceed around every item in the budget. He went on to say that negotiations would not be limited just to the budget. He said, "I will sit down and work with anyone of any party, not only to talk about the budget, about ways to improve the health care system, and about ways that we can shrink our long-term deficits." Congress has now upheld its end of the bargain. The American people can now judge whether the President will uphold his. In the next 90 days, let's demonstrate that Congress can indeed work in a bipartisan fashion and tackle our most serious problems now: a weak economy, a growing national debt, and a health care law that isn't ready for implementation. It's important to note the House took the steps necessary to initiate negotiations. Therefore, in fairness, the President and the Senate need to come to the table. History will record whether the President fulfills his repeated pledges and addresses these barriers to America's economic exceptionalism. Last week, many of us in the chamber extended a hand of bipartisan cooperation to the President. But as President Reagan once said, trust but verify. I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman yields back. The chair